So before learning the Node.js, okay, we need to we must be compatible with JavaScript fundamental things. Okay, since that Node.js is not a new language, okay, but the JavaScript running in the different environment actually. Okay, right now you are able to see the JavaScript is running in the browser side. Okay, so we need to know that apart from the browser, can we run this JavaScript in the apart from the browser? So yes, so basically we can able to run, okay, apart from the browser. Okay, so for that thing we can say it's a Node.js only. Okay, and basically before that you need to know guys regarding some fundamental regarding the Node.js, like regarding the JavaScript. Okay, so in the last class I had discussed regarding that some concept regarding that JavaScript. Okay, so make sure that you should compatible with those things. Okay, the first thing I have, there is a variables and the data types. Okay, and the second thing there is a like control statements. Okay, control statements. And the third thing there is a objects and array arrays. Okay, and there is a one more thing, there is a ES6 plus features. Okay, and there is a one more thing, there is asynchronous as well. Okay, asynchronous JS. Okay, and apart from that thing, um, so regarding that events. Okay, events is optional, not a problem, but we need to know that all the events we have in the JavaScript. Okay, and apart from that thing we need to know that error handling as well. Error handling. Okay, and the basic thing there is a we need to know how that this keyword is works. Keyword. Okay, and apart from that thing regarding that again the lexical scope and that closure. Okay, and we need to understand the basic understanding about the modules. So purpose of the modules we are using for the import and export the functions. Okay, in this thing we can add the functions, loops, all the things actually. Okay, so basically the thing is like, so like in the, yeah, in the variable and data types. So in JavaScript we have the three things. One, it's a var and let and const. Okay, so apart from that thing we have the two things. One, it's a primitive type, like primitive data types, and one, it's a uh, non-primitive data types. Okay, in the primitive data types we have the things like string, number, boolean, null, undefined, and symbol, and big int. Okay, and in the non-primitive data we can say that object, arrays, and functions. Okay, so yeah, and apart from that thing, so we have the functions as well. So in the functions, so basically so we have the three things in the function. So one, it's a declaration, one, it's expression, and one, it's a arrow function. Okay, so we have the fourth thing in that function again. So it's a named function, anonymous functions, an arrow function, and callback functions. Okay, so these are the things you need to know guys. Okay, and apart from that thing there is a control statement. So control statement in the sense like if else conditions, and loops for the for, while, and do while, and for each, map, filter. So these are the under the control statements actually. Okay, and apart from that thing there is a object and arrays. Okay, so here like can creating the we can create the instant and accessing the objects. So basically there is a key value pair for the objects. okay, and we can see the nested structure as well, okay. And for the array purpose, so we can able to see that array operations like push, pop, shift, map, filter, okay. So the array methods also very important in the Node.js, okay. And apart from that thing, there is a ES6 features, okay. You should know minimum 7 to 8 ES6 features with a grip, okay. So we have the literals, and that destructuring, spread and rest operator, and that default parameter let versus const, okay, and arrow functions module, okay. And apart from that thing, you need to know that hands-on as well on that ES6 features, okay. And next, it's a asynchronous JavaScript. So basically here we can see that the two function called set timeout and set interval, and that callback promises and async and await. So these are the things we can see under that asynchronous JavaScript, okay. And that events, so basically that while like this event while not used in the Node.js, but having the knowledge about that browser events, so it will help like helps the understanding that event loop. For that thing I mentioned the events, okay. And apart from that thing, there is a error handling. So here um, we can use that the name is try and catch, okay. Other apart from that try and catch, we can use that throwing the custom error as well, okay. And there is this keyword. So basically we need to know that how this keyword works in the regular function and the arrow function. So what we'll get, either we will there are the two things, one it's a window object, one it's a global object actually, okay. So while like in the browser side we will get that window object, and the Node.js we can able to see that empty object, otherwise we can say it's a global object, okay. And there is a lexical scope and the closure, okay. So here we can able to see that in that lexical scope. So for example, you can take the two, there are the two functions, so outer and inner, and inside the outer function we have some variable. So we are trying to access the variable from the outer function to the inner function. We can't able to access that inner function, inner variable to the outer function, okay. So for that thing we can able to call that particular lexical scope, okay. And there is a closure. So basically it's a variable access based on that scope chain, okay. And basically it's a module. So basically you need the guys basic understanding of the modules. Why? Because it will help for the importing the libraries, exporting the functions, okay. So these are the basic things you need to know guys regarding the Node.js, okay. uh, yeah, apart from that thing, so now we'll go to the Node.js. Mm, okay. So basically the Node.js is the uh, not a language, okay. So it's a runtime environment for the JavaScript, we can say, okay. The Node.js is the runtime environment for the JavaScript, okay. Like this means that it allows the JavaScript code to run outside the web browser, okay. So we can able to see, we can able to see we can able to run, so outside of a browser web browser, Okay, in the traditional web application, so JavaScript is executed in the browser only. For example, you can take that Chrome and Firefox. So however, that Node.js allows JavaScript to run on servers, and that even on other devices that are not a browsers actually, like that. And the basically we can say it's open source as well. Open source. So what is mean by open source in the sense? So basically the open source means like that open, like source code, we can say. Source code in the sense actual code used to build the Node.js. Okay, that open source means that that is a source code, we can say. Source code. Okay, the source code in the sense like it's actual code used to the build a Node.js. Okay, and it's a freely available to the public actually. Anyone can view it and modify it and contribute to that particular project in the Node.js. It's like a community driven project, you can say. uh, Community driven project. Okay, so where the developers from the around the world can help improve it actually. So anyone can access the code base, anyone can search the bugs, anyone can add the features. So it's a free for all the people actually. So for that thing we can say it's a open source. Okay, and apart from that thing there is a cross platform. So basically it's a cross platform. The cross platform in the sense like it means that Node.js can run on different operating system like Windows, Mac, and Linux without any problem actually. So we don't need any like the library, we don't need any installation part. Okay, we don't need any setups. Okay, so whether you are working on the PC, Mac, or Linux systems, like you can use the Node.js in the same way actually. And basically it's not limited to just one system or one platform like that. Okay, so basically the cross platform in the sense can run uh, different OS. Okay, and basically we have seen regarding that JavaScript is the like JavaScript runtime environment. Okay, JavaScript runtime environment. So what is mean by that JavaScript runtime environment? So basically that runtime environment is the system that allows the execution of code actually. The specifically it's a software to run and manage the JavaScript code. Basically this runtime environment. Okay, um, is a system that allows the execution of code. Okay, so basically it's a software, we can say, that runs and manages the JavaScript code. In simple term I can say like so when we write the code when we write the JavaScript code, so it's like it's just a text, we can say. But for the JavaScript to actually do something, so it needs a runtime to execute the code actually. So in the case of browsers, okay, so this is the usually done by the browsers built in JavaScript engine. There is name called it's a V8 engine, we can say. Okay, and the Node.js provide this runtime environment. Okay, but it's outside the browser, we can say. On server we can able to see this runtime environment. Okay, the specifically This is it's a software and runs and manage the JavaScript code actually. And there is one more thing, that JavaScript code executed outside the browser in the sense. So there is a JavaScript code executed outside of the browser in the sense. So normally JavaScript runs inside the browser. Okay, for example, so when you open the website, the browser executes the JavaScript that control things like a button animations or form handling. Okay, however the Node.js let you the run the JavaScript on server. Okay, and this allows the JavaScript to use for the things like managing the database and handling the HTTP request. Okay, for the building the APIs. Okay, so these are the things we can see in the outside the browser, outside of the browser. Okay, so one thing, it's managing the database. Okay, and handling the HTTP request. So these are the protocols we can say. And there is a one more thing, building the APIs. Okay, yeah. So the next thing, regarding that servers, especially we can say, um, especially on the servers. Okay, so while JavaScript is usually seen in the context of browsers, but the Node.js allows the JavaScript to run on servers. Okay, but the servers are the powerful computers we can say, to store them, to store and manage the website or any applications. Okay, and they can they handle the task like responding to the user request. Okay, processing the data and storing the information. Okay, so these are the things we can able to see in the server. So basically that Node.js allows the JavaScript to run on the server. Okay, but the servers basically, 1 minute, yeah, the servers are basically, we can say, it's a powerful computers. Okay, so that are store and manage the website. Otherwise we can say it's a applications. And basically they can handle, so they can handle they handle tasks like responding to the users, respond responding to the user request. Okay, and processing the data. Okay, and the third thing we can able to see that storing the information, storing the info. Okay, so these are the things we can able to see inside the server. Okay, so the thing is like, why this is important then? So the basically that traditionally the JavaScript was the only used the front end, so what you see in the browser work. Okay, but with the Node.js you can use the JavaScript app for the backend as a server side we can say. Okay, this means we can build the entire web application using the just JavaScript, so both on front end and back end. So here, so basically the Node.js let you let you run the JavaScript outside the browser, and basically there is a open source which means anyone can improve it. Okay, it's a cross platform as well, like meaning it works on different operating system, and it's a runtime environment for the JavaScript, so allowing to run the code on the server. Okay, for example, you can take one scenario. The scenario is, imagine JavaScript as a language that normally lives in the browser, like Chrome or Firefox. Okay, but what if you want to use the JavaScript to build a web server, so handling the database queries or work with the files. Okay, so that's a way, that's where the Node.js comes in this picture. Okay, and it lets you to run that directly on the our server side. So basically, uh, it's built on the Chrome V8 engine. Chrome's V8 engine. Chrome's V8 engine. So basically, that Node.js runs on the Google V8 engine. Okay, the same engine used in the Chrome, and that V8 engine compiles that JavaScript directly into the machine code. So making it very fast. And basically that V8 engine is written in the I think there is a C++ actually. Why? Because it's optimizes for speed purpose. So basically, in the short form, we can say like there is a Node.js is equal to uh, V8 sorry V8 engine V8 engine plus server side APIs. The Node.js is equal to V8 engine plus server side APIs. Okay, yeah. So like these are the things. What is the particular Node.js? So these are the main words we have to we have to explain to in front of your interview. So Node.js, we can say it's a runtime environment, and it's open source, cross-platform. It's a runtime environment again, and we can able to see that this server as well. You have to explain. Okay, in the next part, we need to know regarding that why we are using the Node.js. Why Node.js is unique. Okay, so in the in current market, you can see the example called there is a Netflix. Okay, Meta. Otherwise, yeah, Netflix, Meta, and Uber. Okay, so like these are the big tech companies are using the Node.js. So why the Node.js is unique actually? Why the Node.js is unique? So why means, so first point, it's a event driven, we can say event driven, and the non-blocking input output, we can say. Okay, so what is it actually? So what is the non-blocking here? Okay, so what is the non-blocking then? So basically, that non-blocking means the Node.js does not wait for the one operation to finish before starting the next. Okay, it handles a multiple tasks at the same time without getting any stuck on the single task. So Node.js is achieve this through the event loop mechanism. Okay, and there is a one thing, it's an event loop. It's a very important to the entire JavaScript career, we can say. So that the event loop listen for the new task. Okay, and process them as soon as it can, and without waiting for previous ones to finish, we can say. Then why it's useful then? So basically in the traditional server side development, so the each request might block the system until it completed actually. Okay, for example, if one request is being processed, okay, and the server can't process any other request until the current one finished actually. The Node.js avoids this problem by handling the request concurrently and asynchronously. Okay, so here there is a name called asynchronous. Asynchronous comes into this picture. Okay, in the real-time scenario, imagine you are building one real-time chat app. Okay, for example, there is a WhatsApp. Okay, so when the user A, so this is a chat app. Okay, so here we have the user A and user B. Okay, user A. So basically user A sends a message, like you don't want to wait for the user B message before responding. So we are talking about the user 1 and user B. Okay, so when user A sends a message, you don't want to wait for users B message before the responding. With a Node.js, the server does not need to wait for any user's message to be processed. So it continuous it handle the incoming messages in the real time without being blocked by any single request. So for that reason, the Node.js comes into this picture with the asynchronous as well. And again, I'm telling regarding the JavaScript, we can say everywhere actually. So in the basically the Node.js allows you to use that particular JavaScript. Okay, not only for the front end. Okay, but also we can able to see that in the backend as well. So this means the same programming language can be used for the both client and server side development. So why it's useful in the sense, like in the traditional development, the front end and back end developer use the different languages. For example, JavaScript for the front end and Python, Ruby for the back end. So but with a Node.js developer, so can use the JavaScript throughout the entire application. So which simplify the development and makes easier to manage the code actually. Okay, and the next thing, there is a scalability. So what is meant by scalability in this sense, the scalability, it's a refers to how well an application can handle the increase in the traffic or users or requests without crashing or without slowing down, we can say. So basically the Node.js is designed to scale the easily by handling the many simultaneous connections with single thread and the non-blocking architecture. So it does not create any new thread for each user. So the only one using the one thread, so it can handle the multiple things. So which save the memories and improve the performance, we can say. Okay, so why it's useful in the sense, so as your application grows, okay, so you need to scale the efficiently to handle the thousands of users without affecting the performance. Okay, so basically here the Node.js handle this this well actually, because of it does not use the multiple threads for the each request. So instead of processing the multiple tasks using the single thread, so it making it the more efficient, we can say. For that thing, the scalability is very important actually. For example, you can take, there is a for example, Hotstar you can take. So it's also for the better for the scalable. Okay, either you can take any other Uber app. Okay, so there you can able to see that scalability. For example, think about that the ride booking app called Uber. Okay, so where thousands of users are trying to book the ride simultaneously, but Node.js allows the app to handle all the requests concurrently without any uh, without require any additional memory actually. So basically this scalability is the key for the handling the large volumes of the users and the fast and efficient way. Okay, and we can say some use cases. Okay, use cases. Okay, so the Node.js we can say it's a highly versatile and can be used for the wide variety applications as well. For example, uh, for the real time application, for example, you can take that chat app, chat app. Okay, and REST APIs, REST APIs. Okay, and the microservices, microservices. Okay, and that IoT devices. Okay, and the file system monitoring, file system monitoring. Okay, so for the real-time application we can see that live notification, otherwise we can see that chat apps. Okay, for the REST APIs, so basically it to allows the communication between the different software systems actually. For example, you can imagine, so these are the two servers. Okay, so we need to communication in between those two servers. For that thing we have to use that REST APIs. Okay, that microservices basically it's a small services that can that works together in the large applications. Okay, that IoT devices basically such as a smart home device and sensors we can say. Okay, and that file system monitoring, so basically that watching for the changes in the files or directories we can say. So basically we are able to see like the use cases, but why is this is useful actually? So why means the thing is like, so Node.js can be used in the many different types of the projects. Okay, for the real-time communication tools to handling the IoT devices. Okay, because of its a event-driven and non-blocking feature, like to make it perfect for the building the application that needs to the process the data quickly and efficiently we can say. Okay, the performance and efficient and the quick, so these are the things we can like here the Node.js can follow the things actually. For example, we can take there is a imagine you are working with a smart home controller. Okay, the each IoT device in the sense like for example you can take that light, any thermostat, any security camera. Okay, so basically the each IoT devices sends data to server in the sense it's a Node.js. The basically the Node.js can handle this this data efficiency using the streams and events. So whether there are hundreds of devices send the data, the Node.js can process the everything quickly without delays. So here the main things, there is a non-blocking the and JavaScript we can able to see the everywhere, and there is a scalability and there is a use cases. Okay, so we can able to see that one thing, there is a Node.js features, Node.js features. So if you have any doubt till now, any regarding that,
No, sir.
what about Preetham?
No, sir.
Okay. okay, where it is, okay, Node.js features. Okay, so we have some several number of features in that in that Node.js. Okay, the first one, we can able to see that non-blocking non-blocking okay, non-blocking, it's a by default we can say. So in the Node.js, okay, the non-blocking and in this input and output. Okay, so in the Node.js, okay, that input and output are the operations, like 1 minute, that input and that output, the operations like reading and writing the files. Okay, or interacting with the database, database, and do not stop that execution of the other task. By default, that Node.js performs these operations asynchronously, meaning it can handle other tasks while waiting for the input output operation to finish. So then what does this means actually? So basically, the normally in the traditional programming model, that when the program performs input output like reading the files or querying the database, so it waits for the operation to complete the before continuing. So this is called, we can say, it's a blocking. So because it blocks the program from the from doing the uh, other things in the meantime, we can say. So basically, the Node.js uses the event-driven and non-blocking models. So this means does not stop the everything else. So when it does input-output tasks, for example, you can take one scenario. Imagine you have one server that reads a file and serve the HTTP request. Okay, without Node.js, we can say that. Uh, Without Node.js, the server the freeze, we can say. So user can't able to see the next processes without Node.js. Okay, so with Node.js we can able to see that parallelly the other tasks as well. For example, you can see there is a code. First thing is the console.log. Here we can able to see that hello, otherwise I can add the one. Okay, and this is regarding that asynchronous, basically that event loop kind of things. Okay, so for example, console.log 1. Okay, and again the second thing we can able to see that set timeout. Okay, so set timeout is the function, okay, for the asynchronous purpose. Okay, and the third thing we can able to see that console.log, it's a 2. Okay, yeah. So here what will happen in that synchronous. Okay, so in the synchronous it will run the line by line actually. Okay, so it will block our code. Okay, the same thing here we are observing regarding that non blocking and non-blocking. Blocking in the sense, like we can say it's a synchronous, and that non-blocking in the sense we can say regarding that asynchronous. Okay, so this is regarding that non-blocking. Okay, and apart from that thing, there is a networking support. Networking support. Okay, so basically that Node.js has built-in support for the network protocol, like in the networking you can able to see that TCP and that UDP. Okay, so these are the protocols in the network protocols. Okay, so the TCP in the sense it's a transmission control protocol, and the UDP in the sense user datagram protocol. Okay, so these are the protocols used for the low level network communication. So then what does this mean basically? The thing is so basically the TCP and UDP are the fundamental protocols that allow the data to be sent and received over the network. For example, you can think, so we have the two thing. Okay, one it's a client and one it's a server. Okay, so in between, like so we need to so in between we can able to see that TCP and UDP. Okay, the TCP and UDP are the fundamental protocols that allows the data to be sent and received over the network. The network in the sense like internet. Okay, and the Node.js supports these protocols directly, which means like we can use the Node.js to build the network application like web browsers or custom communication systems. Okay, in the scenario you can take like let's say we are building a multiplayer games like game server. Okay, that need to communicate with the players in the real time. For example, you can take the PUBG. Okay, in the PUBG we can able to while playing we can able to talk any like in other friends as well. Okay, so the same thing. So here like you like we would use the TCP for the fast reliable communication. So this is the one scenario. Okay, and the Node.js can directly use the these protocols and um, allowing to create the custom servers, and that can handle the multiplayer games without needing the extra tool. So these are the two things for the like these are the two things protocol under that networking support. Okay, so you can take that scenario called a multiplayer game server actually. So basically the TCP and UDP we can able to see that handshake. I'll show you one thing here. TCP handshake. Okay, yeah, yeah, here you can able to see. So this is a one client and this is a server. Okay, so from the starting when you start the like in the Google, so that client send to the synchronize request to the server. Okay, and server like will again send back to the client with synchronized first acknowledgement. Okay, after that we can able to see that our conversation actually. So first thing, handshake is a very important. Okay, is a three-way handshake we can able to see in the TCP. Okay, same thing we can able to see that in UDP as well. So basically 1 minute. Yeah, yep, in the like in the UDP we can able to see the two-way things actually. It's a two-way thing, and that like the TCP it's a handshake with that acknowledgement is very important actually for the security purpose. Okay, yeah. So next thing, the third thing regarding there is a file system access. Okay, so the basically that Node.js allows you to interact with the file system directly. Okay, this means you can read, you can write, you can delete the file stored in your computers. Okay, so basically here we can able to see that Node.js um, can interact with interact with file system. Okay, so this means we can able to read, write. So here we can able to read, write, and delete the files from the R system. Otherwise we can able to see the server as well. Okay, delete. So then what does it like this mean basically? So basically the Node.js provide the access to the file system like through the built-in keywords called fs. Okay, so we need to use while coding, there is a keyword called fs, means it's a file system. Okay, I can say it's a file system module. File system module. Okay, so basically this allows you to work with a file just like you would in language like for example you can take that Python, JavaScript, C++. Okay, yeah, so you can guess one like that scenario as well. So suppose you are building one CLI. What is meant by CLI? In the sense it's a command line interface. Okay, for example you can take 1 minute. So for example I can take one scenario regarding the CLI. So here we are building one CLI. Okay, so CLI is the tool kind of thing actually. Okay, CLI is a tool that logs the user input, and each time the user interact like enter the something. Okay, and like our program write the test data to the text file, and in the browser we like basically we can't access the file system for the security reason actually, but in the Node.js allows these through its a fs model. What is the fs model? It's a file system. Okay, making such task the possible, we can say. Okay, so through the fs model we can able to see that that read, write, delete file store like delete the file stored on our computer, otherwise you can say it's a server. Okay, and apart from that thing, so the next point, it's a server side capabilities. So basically that Node.js is used to build the backend server for the web application, and it can handle so basically HTTP protocols request. So it can handle the HTTP requests. Okay, HTTP requests, and work with the database, managing the things like authentication. So the second thing, it's a work with the DB, and manage the things like authentication or auth. So for the like logging in the users, so we are using like that authentication. So then what does this mean actually? So basically the instead of using the separate backend language like PHP, Java, like any Python. Okay, so the basically the Node.js lets you the use the JavaScript to handle the server side tasks like accepting the incoming web request, and interacting with the database. Okay, and sending back to, the response to the browser. So these are the things we can able to see that in the server side capabilities. Okay, so after the Node.js we can able to see these things actually, and it's very helpful. Okay, and in this scenario basically imagine we are creating one minute. Okay, imagine we are creating the e-commerce website. Okay, the website needs to needs to let users sign up. Okay, and the place orders and see the uh, some product recommendations. Okay, so we can use the Node.js handle all of these actually. For example, so that basically the Node.js is a single threaded. Okay, so it will accept the user signups, and signups and log, and user like it will store the orders in the database. Okay, and so it will handle the multiple things actually, and basically it will generate the dynamic pages based on that user actions. For example, you can take that showing the personalized home page as well. So you can take that e-commerce example using that either Flipkart, otherwise you can take that Amazon. Okay, so we can say it's regarding that server side capabilities. Okay, yeah, the next thing regarding that the name is modular system, like modular system. So what is what is mean by that modular system? In the sense, like it's a import kind of things actually. So basically that Node.js allows you to break your code into the smaller thing, means like reusable models, we can say. So basically we can able to see that organized way our code. So we need to make that organized. Okay, so why? Because we need to keep it as a manageable things actually. Then like what does this mean basically? So in the Node.js, so we can create the separate pieces of the code called modules. Okay, for example, you can take, this is a normal function. So this is a normal function. The function name is the greet. Okay, function name is the greet. So here we are returning something hello. Okay, the thing is like, so in the Node.js we can create the separate pieces. So just you can imagine this is a separate pieces. Okay, pieces of code. It's a we can say it's a models. Okay, and these models can be imported into the other parts as well. Okay, so this function is in some other file, and so we have some, apart from this file, so we have some other files as well. Okay, so we need this greet function to any other file in other location as well. Okay, so basically these models can be imported into the other parts of the application, so then making it easier to reuse and maintain our code actually. For example, you can take one scenario. So for example, yeah, if we are building that REST API, so just think. Okay, REST API in the sense like I'll tell you. Okay, yeah, so we're building the REST API. So we can divide our code into the different models. Okay, for example, we have the three features. Okay, like one it's a auth, one it's a product. Okay, one it's a users. Okay, so in the auth file, so we can able to see regarding that login and sign up details. Okay, and the product in the under the product we can able to see that listing the products and adding the products. Okay, and in the users you can able to see that deals with the like user profiles and the settings. Okay, so here what we have did, so the particular thing, so for the auth file, so we have made for separate function, like separate file. For the product we have made some separate, we have to make with the separate file. The same thing for the users as well. So basically this way the each part of the API is a self-contained, we can say, so making it cleaner or easier to maintain. And we can simply require require the each modules where you need it actually, rather than writing the all the code in the one huge file. And it's not a best practices to write entire code in the entire code in one file. Okay, and so we have to follow some best practices in the sense like, so we need to make the small chunks, otherwise small files. So it's a better to readability, and it's a organized way, we can say. Okay, and yeah, so apart from that thing, like so we need to know regarding that difference between that Node.js and browser. Node.js and versus browser. Okay, So in web application, the JavaScript used in the two different context. Okay, so JavaScript used in the two different context. The uh, one which is the browser JavaScript, means running in the browser, and the one which is the Node.js, so running the outside the browser. Outside the browser in the sense it's a server. Otherwise you can say it's a system. Otherwise you can say it's a machine. Okay, so even though both you like the both use JavaScript as a programming language. Okay, and so their environment is very different in like that JavaScript and Node.js. Okay, for example, we can compare with the both in between that Node.js and the browser. Okay, so first I will take the point regarding that global object. Global object. Okay, so in the global object we have to compare, like you need to take that global object and we need to compare with that in between the browser of JavaScript and that Node.js. Okay, so what will happen in that browser JavaScript? Okay, so basically we need to see in the browser. So in the browser, okay, the global object in the browser, we can say it's a window. The global the global object in the browser, we can say it's a window. Okay, and this object represents the window in which the document, it's a HTML page, is being the display, like is being displayed, we can say. And it gives you access to properties like window, document, and so we have so many methods as well. Okay, and which let us manipulate the web page as well. Okay, for example, if you are working in the browser, so we can access the global window object, like for example I will show you here. Okay, I'll show you. This is the okay, so and console dot log window dot, for example I'll take the location with the location. Okay, so we can access the global window object like this actually. Okay, in the what will happen in the Node.js then? So in the browser we can able to see that window. What will happen in the Node.js? Okay, so in the Node.js, so the global object in the Node.js, we can say it's a global only. So it's a very important difference, like the difference between that browser and Node.js. Okay, the global object in the Node.js is called like global only. Okay, it gives you the access to the things like some variables. So we have some variables in the Node.js. The variable like director name. Okay, director name. Okay, so basically we can able to see the director name of the current model. So this is the command, so we need to run in that particular CLI. So there we can able to see that the director name of the current model. And there is one more thing regarding that set timeout. set timeout function. Okay, so basically that in the browser, the global object in the browser, we can it call, so we can see it's the browser is called, it's a window, and in the Node.js, the global object in the Node.js, it's called global. Okay, so here where it is, so I have to check that as well. So here we are able to see that window, but we have to check that global dot set timeout here, console dot log, there is a global, sorry, 1 minute. Hey, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So in short, you can just think like that global object in the browser called window, and the Node.js, it's global only. Okay, and they both acts as the root object in their environment. Okay, and that browser is the different environment, and that Node.js is the different environment. Okay, and but their properties and the methods are different, the browsers and that Node.js. Okay, apart from that thing, so here okay, so for the next difference, it's a file system access. File system access. Okay, so the basically in the browser in the browser JavaScript, so in the browser we cannot directly access the file system. uh, why like this is a security measure to prevent that website from the reading and modifying the our files without permission. So we can't able to see that see and access those file systems in the browser side. So if you try to read and write file using the fs in the browser, it won't work actually. So basically here cannot directly access the file system. Okay, in the Node.js, so in the Node.js allows you to access the file system through the fs model. fs model in the sense it's the reserved keyword, we can say it's a fs file system. Okay, and this give you the ability to read, write, update, delete files on the server. Okay, for example, first for that thing we have to import that file system. Okay, so we need to use that reserved keyword called required. So basically it's a required is the part of that module. So why we are using the module in the sense for the import and exporting purpose. Okay, so here in the required, so we are required. So here we have imported the fs file system. Okay, so now we need to read the file. Okay, we need to read the file. So for that thing we need to use that that reference called fs and we need to use that read file. These are the methods, inbuilt methods. Okay, and here we need to use that for example, okay, I can take that example. We have some text file. The text file name is the example only, and so here we have some utf 8, and here, so it's a callback. One it's a error kind of thing, one it's a data. Okay, so here we need to add one condition. Suppose if error, so then we need to throw the error, otherwise we need to show our output. Otherwise we need to show so.log, that is the data. Okay, so basically so here our content will print actually. So in short, we can say the Node.js gives you the direct access to file, but a browser JavaScript does not actually. Okay, for example, you can try. I think so. Yeah, no. So I'm working some other thing here. So no, we'll do later. Yeah. So the next point. The next point, it's a server creation. Server creation. Okay, server creation in the browser side. In the browser side. So browsers are used for the particular UI interactions. Okay, so the JavaScript running in the browser does not have that ability to create the server. Okay, and that browser job is to display the user interface and that interact with the user. Okay, for example, you can take like in the browser, so we can use the JavaScript to handle the user interaction, but we can't create the server actually, like that. Okay, in the Node.js, so in the Node.js, it's a basically it's a design for designed to help help you to build the servers actually. So particular this Node.js like we are used for the particular that servers only. So we can use it to create the web servers, handling the HTTP request and creating the APIs. Okay, so we can create one thing here. So I will close this one and one minute. So this is not regarding that Node.js. Okay, 1 minute. I will open now. So here it's a index.js. Okay, so here I have to use that. We need the HTTP for the protocol purpose. Okay, required protocol. Protocol. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So basically, like this is the imported that HTTP or protocol, and like here the server will create. Okay, in the line number 2. Okay, so we will get the request from the client side, and we will send the response from the here in the inside the callback. So we need to send the response like this actually. Okay, so I'll write something regarding a response dot we need to write. Okay, so we have so many methods are there in that Node.js. Okay, so here I'll send the hello world, and this is the response dot, like the response dot end. It's a like connection is ending, we can say like that. Okay, so and this is, so basically we need to show in the particular port, like like localhost. So we need to show a particular port actually. In the on that particular port we can able to see that our output actually. Okay, so this server we took from this like this create server. Okay, and after that we listen and the particular port. Okay, then we can able to run this code actually. So how to run, in the sense we have to use that node, and we have to write that file name. The file name is a node.js. Okay, so here the server is running on the port 3000. Okay, so when I click on this thing, so here you can able to see that hello world. Okay, in the node.js we can easily create the server using that http module. Okay, but in the browser javascript it not like that's not a possible, because of the browser is the just a client side tool, we can say. Okay, so here we can say some use cases as well. Use case. Okay, so in the browser side, so this is the main purpose of the browser javascript, is to handle the UI interactions. Okay, that handle that UI interactions. Okay, it's used to make the web pages dynamic, and it allowing the users to interact with the elements and animate content, or submitting the form without reloading the page. Okay, and it's a heavily uh, tied to the particular front end actually, what the use case see. For example, you can take, so we can use the javascript in the browser to validate the form or changing the page layout dynamically. Okay, so when it comes to the node.js for the use cases, node.js, so basically it's a primary use of the node.js is the backend development. Okay, and it's used for the creating the web server and handling the APIs, and creating with the database, and even the reading writing files, and it's designed to handle the server side logics. Okay, and server side logic in the sense like, so we'll see in the upcoming lecture regarding that server side logic. Okay, and we can see that perform the operations that browser cannot do like that. So for example, so with the node.js we can build a RESTful API to handle the user data, like as like it save it to the database and return it to the browser. So these things will do the node.js. Okay, and we can see some common APIs, the common APIs in the both the browser and the node.js. Browser in the browser, uh, yeah, in browser, so we have some common APIs in the browser. Okay, so there is a name called fetch, and the local storage. Okay, so for example we can take the two APIs only. The fetch API used to make the HTTP request. Okay, and the local storage, so basically store the data in the browser, so it persists even that after page is refreshed actually. So we have the session storage, like local storage, and the cookies as well. Okay, in the node.js, it's come to the node.js, node.js, So here also we have some APIs in the Node.js. So what are those APIs in the sense, like the first thing, there is a file system. Okay, so we are used for the reading the files and writing the files. And apart from that thing, there is a HTTP. Okay, so HTTP basically we are used for the creating the web servers. And apart from that thing, there is a OS. Okay, operating system. It provides the information about the operating system. For example, you can take that CPU architecture and memory. Okay, and we need to know some regarding that web specific APIs, not in the Node.js. Okay, the web specific APIs, specific APIs. Okay, basically not in the Node.js. I'm mentioning here. Okay, so like there are certain APIs that are exclusive to the browser because of they are related to the web page and user interactive and user interface. So first thing, in the document, so here you can able to see those things. Okay, I will show you. Yeah, so this is the one API. So here when you write this in this thing, so you can able to see the document. Okay, so the first thing is the document. It's used to manipulate the web pages. Okay, so in this thing, so we can able to see so many methods under that document. Okay, so the next thing, there is a window again. So here the window is basically represent the browser window actually. Okay, and there is a fetch. So the fetch, so making the HTTP request to get the resource over the networks. And the same thing again, that local storage as well. So these are the web specific APIs. Okay, yeah, and the thing is like, and one more thing, there is a relation between that the client and server as well. Okay. Mm, okay, so we need to know what about the client side JavaScript and the server side JavaScript. Client side JavaScript and server side JavaScript. Okay, so basically the client side JavaScript, basically we can say it's a run inside the user's browser. For example, you can take that Chrome and Firefox. Okay, when they visit the page, it allows for the dynamic interactions and update the update to the pages without requiring the reload. Then what the client side JavaScript does actually. So basically here in the client side, so first thing we can see that manipulate the DOM. So in DOM, in the sense, we can say it's a document object model. Okay, so here the JavaScript can interact with the web pages to change the, like, to change what the use case is. For example, I can take the text, image and form without having to reload the entire page. For example, changing the color of the text when the user click on the button. So these are the things we can say in the client side only. Okay, and the second thing, there is a handles the user interactions. Okay, the JavaScript capture the events such as the button click and form submission or key presses. Okay, for example, you can take when the user submit the form, the JavaScript capture the data and can send it to the server without refreshing the page. Okay, and the third thing, so making the API call, API calls. Okay, so here the JavaScript can make the request to the server to fetch, means like or send the data like using the method like fetch. Okay, and yeah, so now we need to see regarding that server side JavaScript. Okay, so basically the server side JavaScript, it's a runs on the server only. Okay, using that Node.js. Okay, and it handles the things like storing the data in the database, and that authenticating the users and managing the application logics. Okay, then what servers are like server side JS does actually. Okay, the first point we can say it's a DB DBMS. One it's a database management. Database manage management. Okay, the server side JavaScript interact with the database to store the database to store, retrieve the update or delete the data. So basically we can say it's a CRUD operations. Okay, so when the new user register and their information is stored in the database actually. Okay, so this is regarding the DBMS. The second thing, that is authentication and authorization. Okay, authentication and authorization. So basically it checks if the user who the user are who they say like they are authentication, and the basically whether they are allowed to access the certain resources. For that thing we can say it's a authorization. So for the authentication we can able to see in that login and logout part, and that authorization, so the thing is like, so whether they are allowed allowed to access the certain resources. Okay, apart from that thing there is a one more thing, there is a input validation. Input, the third thing, it's a input validation. Okay, so it ensures that the data received from the user is safe and valid. Okay, like the like preventing the harmful data from being processed, we can say. For example, if a user submit the form with the invalid data, otherwise harmful code, so that server can reject it, prevent the attacks like SQL injections. Okay, and here we can able to see that session management as well. The session manage management. Okay, so here the keeps track of the users, such as the remembering that logging in the users or managing the session states. For example, you can take like when the users logs in, that server uses the cookies and tokens to remember them across the pages actually. So for that thing we can say it's a session management. And apart from that thing, we can say that API handling as well. Okay, the server process the request from the front end. Okay, and send back the required data to the again to the front end from the server side. So basically you can take one example. The front end requested to the request to create the new order is handled by the server and saved in the database. So here we can able to see that handling of like API handling. Okay, and apart from this thing, so we have the error handling as well. So error handling is also very important in this condition. So basically here you can able to see that manages the error and send the appropriate response, so when something goes wrong actually, such as database error. Okay, and the next thing regarding that security measure. Security measure. Okay, so basically they protect the application from common security threat like XSS in the sense like cross-site scripting. Otherwise, you can say it's SQL injections. Okay, and the next thing regarding that data encryptions as well. Data encryption. So data encryption in the sense like that ensure that that sensitive data, such as you can say like password, so is the encrypted so that even if accessed, so it can't be read actually. So we can show some other things instead of our password. So for example, when the user registered and their password is encrypted before storing it in database like that. Okay, so these are the just basic thing actually, and so in the basic thing we have so many fundamentals are there actually. Okay, so if you have any doubt till now, so if any, Kaustub, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So if you have any doubt regarding till now.
That the difference between Node.js and browser.js,
Okay,
global
yeah, this one.
and the global objective.
Yeah, so in the browser we can say that that window and that Node.js we can able to see that only global only. So for example, sometime it will the empty curly braces. Okay, and so here I will show the that thing actually. So I'll commit this one, and here I will show that console.log. Console.log. Okay, I'll show you one thing. Okay, this is also the thing is, otherwise 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay, global player interval. Okay, otherwise I'll use the global dot set timeout. Okay, set timeout. Yeah, this is the only actually global object actually. Yeah, so in the browser side we are able to see that a window. Okay, here the window, here it is. The window, 1 minute, console.log. In the window, in the no like in the Node.js side we can able to see that the global only. The thing is like, so when we have that suppose if we have that empty color basis in the sense, we can say it's a the backend thing, it's the Node.js part of thing actually. The thing is like, just you need to understand regarding that. So that global object in the JavaScript it's a window, and the Node.js it's a global. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what about Priyanka and Pritam? So if you have any doubt, please ask me. I can. Otherwise, we can wrap up the session because of it's already 8% have charge actually.
No, sir.
Okay
Yes,
then.
sir.
Okay then we'll see tomorrow. Okay. Thank you.